very importantly, writing a professional report. This is the crux of the case study exams, and we need to understand how to write a professional report. So by way of the unit, we look at the purpose of the report writing. We introduce report writing in the case study exams. We look at business analysis reports, the forms of reports. Unit 2. Unit 3, we look at financial statement analysis report, which generally and predominantly comes in requirement 1. And financial data analysis report, which mostly, not always, but mostly comes in requirement 2. Then we look at executive summary, which takes 20% of your marks, and very important, without which, if you don't write an executive summary, you're not going to pass case study. So we also look at the report structure, language and style to write that report. We also look at the report format, and we close in this chapter. Okay, so by way of purpose, after we're done, we should be able to understand how to write a professional report, a good professional report, craft a good executive summary that is catchy and makes the examiner very interested in your script. And also by way of purpose, you need to understand the format of the report in the case study examination. This is very important. Okay, so let's look at an introduction. The report writing is a key to passing. What is that key? You need to master analytical and report writing skills. Like I used to say, the case study exams is not a calculation exams. Your report writing analytical skills is what is tested. And deficiency in analytical skills, report writing skills, in communicating your thoughts comprehensively will lead to failure. A lot of people have passed or failed the case study exams, not because of calculation or understanding case study, but because analyzing and reporting their thoughts skillfully was where they were deficient. So there are 3 types of analysis in the case study exams we must take note of. Number 1, financial statement analysis, how you speak to ratios, common size analysis, trend analysis, working capital analysis. So very importantly, the financial statement analysis must be built up, it must be developed, it must be harnessed to be able to pass the case study exam. So financial statement analysis is key. And number 2, financial data analysis. This skill for analyzing financial and non-financial data for you to be able to solve problems and make decisions is key. So generally or predominantly, financial statement analysis comes in requirement 1, financial data analysis comes in requirement 2. But there are deviations. There are some diets where the examiner deviated from this trend and he juxtaposed both of them. Brought financial data analysis in requirement 1 and financial statement analysis in requirement 2. So it's not a hard and fast rule. So you shouldn't be stereotyped with that thinking that this must be the order. So whichever way it is, read the requirement, understand it, decipher it, and answer based on what the examiner has prompted you. And number 3, business analysis, which includes environmental, strategic, operational analysis using models. Another analysis you need to master. So those models, we looked at them in the last 2 classes or last 4 classes. We looked at strategic management tools, about 12 of them. We also look at performance management tools, 5 of them. So you may need to go back to be able to enhance your business analysis skills. If you're not in that class, please go back to the videos. And he didn't test models in the last diet, so he may test it this diet so that you can be conversant with the strategic management tools and also the performance management tools to help you harness your business analysis. Is very important. So it's key. So the 3 analysis a case study student should be able to master: number 1, financial statement analysis; number 2, financial data analysis; and number 3, business analysis, looking at the environment, the company's strategy, its operations, using models. Very important. So candidates must analyze and write reports to advise clients and assist their boss. So that's what the report is all about. You are analyzing and helping to write reports to advise clients and advise your boss. So the first step is to determine if the report is internal or external. What is an internal report? An internal report is a report you are writing directly to a boss that you work for in your organization. I'll take that again. An internal report is a report you write to your boss, your board, your organization that you work for. So it captures a memo or takes a memo format shape. And that's an internal report. Then for an external report is a letter format that you write to the MD, the chief financial officer, or the board of an organization that it's not yours. So those are the major differences. So for example, I work for, let me use an organization's name. I work for ICANN, and I'm required to write to my boss, who is the finance director of ICANN, on a report that involves ICANN. That is an internal report. But an external report is a report that I work for ICANN, but we are analyzing the report of ANAN. And we are supposed to report to the board of ANAN. So ICANN is doing the work, but the ultimate destination is ANAN, the report, the output. So that one is an external report. And when you're having an external report, you must put a disclaimer on the title page. So a disclaimer is very important for an external report, and that's the first step in determining the report. So we don't have this issue because currently the pre-seen will help you determine if it's an internal or an external report. Formerly, when there was no pre-seen, it used to be an issue. A lot of people come arguing after the exam. Is it internal? Is it external? Is it this? Is it that? But now the pre-seen has solved that problem. With the pre-seen, you know whether it's an internal or an external report. And the second step is to determine the report's purpose. Is the purpose to inform or advise or direct or persuade? So what's the purpose of the report? You need to read that, and that is encapsulated in the requirements clearly. Number three, or no, the third step is to understand the recipient's position in the organization so that you can have an appropriate language and style to speak to. So for external reports, mostly the examiner will ask you to speak to the board. And you know the board is not one person, maybe 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 people. So your tone is different when you're speaking to the board. But if it's an internal report, you're speaking to one person, your boss directly, or who asks you to provide the advice, information, directive, or persuasion. It's very important to understand the position of the person or the stakeholders you are reporting to is key. And I think this is the first step. Understand the recipient's position in the organization to choose the appropriate language and style. So understanding the recipient's position is the third step. Okay, I duplicated that point. All right, so key considerations in the report writing. You need to have the purpose. Introduce the report. What is the purpose of the report? And that speaks to the objective. What are you aiming to achieve by that report? Then what is the type of information? Is it informational or analytical? So informational is just providing restricted content. Analytics is providing elaborate content. So you must understand the type. Do you need to be restricted to a particular scope, or analytical, you are expanding beyond a particular scope? So you also need to understand the structure. What's the structure of the report? We've provided, based on the examiner's template, we said there are about 8 structures, headers and subheaders, which we've provided in the pathfinders and the past questions we've solved. So the structure of the report needs to be studied and practiced. Also the audience, is it a board or a boss? And the language you need to speak. You also need those suitable headers and subheaders. So it's very important to have these nitty-gritties to understand how to write the report in the case study exams. So for the business analysis report, the purpose is to move the company forward by providing information for operational and tactical purposes, and also for strategic decision making. So you must show the SWOT in business analysis report. So when analyzing the business, you must show the SWOT. The strength and the weakness are internal, and the opportunities and threats are external. Very important. So use company records, historical reports, which will be provided in the exhibits. They provide you with board minutes, a lot of information, financial and non-financial, and it leads to action, and you plan to build on either the strengths, address the weakness, speak to how they seize opportunities, and how they should avoid threats. So in a case study exams where you see an organization, they say analyze the business, you know that they are speaking to SWOT analysis. They may not tell you to use SWOT as a model, but when you say perform business analysis, let SWOT come to your mind. When you hear analyze the external environment. You know, PESTEL comes to your mind. When they say analyze the macroeconomic environment, SWOT, PESTEL comes to your mind. Macroeconomic environment, external environment are telling you to use PESTEL. But when you hear of business analysis, they are telling you to use SWOT. Or you hear internal environment, you use the SW, strength and weakness. Very important. So it's very important to be in analyzing based on SWOT. You start with strength and weakness, the growth areas, core competencies are the strength and weakness, the company's vision, mission, objectives, critical success factors, key performance indicators, those competitive advantage area the company has, and where it's performing negatively in those areas are its weaknesses. So that's generally speaking to report writing in the case study exams. We just introduced it in Unit 1 and we'll go into it in depth in Unit 2. So any question as we just introduced writing the professional report in the case study exam? Any question? Okay, I can see Aisha is back. Aisha, welcome back. I think network was misbehaving. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome back. Okay, so let's go to number 2, Unit 2, which is financial statement analysis report. Predominantly the examiner tests, if you look at his 21 editions of the case study exams, he has been testing consistently requirement 1 financial statement analysis, but there has been few deviations. So it's not a hard and fast rule. I've said that previously. There are areas where he deviated and did not go through the normal route. So understand the case and know the purpose of whatever requirement you are asked to provide. And also, you see where lately he has asked for maybe requirements and he says 1, 2, 3. No. Most of the time, the 2 and 3 are together. It's just to confuse you. And so people will think, he's asking for 3 requirements. No, there are 2 requirements. It's just that 2 and 3 are together. So he stratified them for you to be able to provide context and answers based on the detail of what he wants. So there are generally 2 requirements. Requirement 1 mostly are standalone. If you look at lately, November diet, May diet last year, and the previous diet, he asked you to do 3 things. 1, Roman numeral 1, Roman numeral 2, Roman numeral 3. No, there are 2 requirements. So you need to focus on the financial statement analysis. Mostly there is requirement 1, but when it comes to requirement 2, the purpose for financial statement analysis is to focus on profitability. And that's in their income statement or the performance statement. Position, which is the SFP, and the future potential, which is the cash flow. So he has not tested cash flow so far, but then the financial statement analysis focuses on these 3. It varies by the user, which is management, the investor or creditor, or whichever stakeholder you are asked to address in the financial statement analysis. So the key concerns or the key components of this report is you need to show profitability, efficiency, short-term solvency and long-term solvency, then the investment perspective. So for financial statement analysis, you have the profitability area to speak to, which is your ratios, gross profit margin, net profit margin. And where you are not asked to even calculate ratios, from the financial statement provided, you can look at the revenue growth, cost of sales, gross profit, operational expenses, interest, the organic income, inorganic income, non-cash movement, depreciation, amortization, profit before tax, after tax, the bottom line. So you need to look at that holistically and how profitable is the organization and how are they efficiently managing operations through the activity ratios that looks at how many times and all those things. Then you look at short-term solvency, which is your liquidity, your current ratio, asset test, cash ratio, and others. The long-term solvency that speaks to debt ratio, debt to equity, interest cover, and all of them. Then you come to investment. If it's provided in the case, look at your earnings per share, dividend per share, and provide a holistic view of the financial health of the organization. So financial statement comprises of the SFP, the income statements, and the cash flow. And most of the times they give us the statement of changes in equity and also notes to the account to speak to the financial statements. So guidelines for preparing your report, you need to determine the purpose, what's the use, and what's the aim, the objective, and the user, who dictates the content. You need to determine that. And also determine the user information that it's needed. Questions and requirements where you don't need to perform all the 5 categories of ratio. They may just ask of profitability, liquidity, and short-term solvency. And sometimes they may ask of investment, long-term solvency. So read in between the lines for the requirements so that you can speak to them very, very appropriately. Also follow an appropriate framework organized by profitability, efficiency, activity, the position, which is solvency, long-term or short-term, or future prospects. So follow the appropriate framework as asked in the requirement. So read the requirement twice so that you can understand what the examiner wants you to do. Then review the company's background and financial data provided to you. Integrate the analysis with operations and understand what the problems bedeviling the organization. So in the 4th header, I suggested, based on the examiner's approach in the Pathfinder, you understand the problems and provide challenges and options, or issues and options. Where there's a header I used in my report format, I said challenges and considerations. You can use that as a header to speak to your analysis and the problems bedeviling the company before you get to ethical issues to review. So consider the company's environment, internal and external, the micro and the macro. I'm speaking to the industry where the company you are speaking to is domiciled. For example, in the last diet, he spoke to hospitality industry, a hotel. So you need to identify the industry, whether the company is a national or international or a multinational company, and for context and comparison with other companies, you need to consider that. So after that, you've done your body of work and discussion, you need to conclude, and that should include the trend. In your trend, you should consider profitability, the trends within the years. How many years was provided? Are they improving or they are declining? Are they above or below the average benchmark in that industry? You also need to look at asset utilization efficiency, ability to meet short-term commitments, which are liquidity, the gearing level, and the implication of the mix between the equity and debt. Also, future prospects, looking at the financials, is it bright or is it threatening? So these are conclusions you should be able to make as you look at the financial statements. Very important. Then you should be able to provide appropriate and implementable recommendations based on what you've concluded. So you need to provide specific actions to management, and you should take the actions to be able to address those conclusions to ensure survival and future profitability. So like I used to say, your recommendation should be smart. It should be specific, measurable, achievable, realizable, and time-bound. So make sure your recommendations are addressing your conclusions. Very, very important. So that's for financial statement analysis, mostly in requirement 1 that comes, or predominantly in requirement 1 that comes. So any questions so far, so that we can run through the 3rd unit? Any question on financial statement analysis report? Okay, I believe it's clear and succinct. So let's move to the 2nd one, which is financial data analysis report. This report varies by the examiner's requirement and the data provided to you in the exhibits. So candidates must determine the data type, the purpose, and the management decision based on the analysis. So in the requirement, you can bring financial data analysis in requirement 1 or 2. So whatever way it is, be sensitive to the examiner's requirement. That's what we are saying. Use analytical skills from performance management or strategic financial management to determine the required analysis. Exactly. So for financial data analysis, they may bring a mix of strategic financial management tools like NPV, high-low method, contribution margin analysis from performance management. They may test break-even analysis. Several areas in your previous papers from performance management and strategic financial management will be tested in financial data analysis. And we've seen that very, very dominantly in the past papers. So your analysis should result from the basis of your conclusion and recommendation. And your recommendation should spout or sprout management actions. So your results and your analysis should be robust, and you should be able to provide conclusions and recommendations for management to be able to make actions. So whatever tool you are asked to use, if they ask you analyze the strategic business proposal, analyze the projects, and you see the information provided to you, you should be able to know which appropriate tool you should use. So where you are given high, medium, low method, they tell you the payback period of the project is 5 years, and you see projected cash flow or contribution provided for the years or forecasted cash flow. You need to be able to determine whether it's NPV or IRR or payback period method to use that will speak graphically to that case or that scenario at hand. Is very important. So that will be for financial data analysis. Do we have any questions so that we'll run through the next unit? Any question on financial data analysis? Okay, I believe it's self-explanatory. So unit 4, the executive summary, very, very important. Why is it very important? Because it's 20 marks, it's taking 1/5, 1/5 of your marks. And without an executive summary, the examiner has stated it clearly, you cannot pass case study. What is the purpose of the executive summary? Is a snapshot of everything you have done in 1 or 2 pages. The executive summary is a brief section at the beginning of your report. It's summarizing everything you have said in detail. So where you have a detailed discussion or findings of about 20 to 30 pages, you are summarizing that in 1, minimum 2 pages maximum. It's a concise summary of your report. Very important. And it comes after your title page. The second and the third page is your executive summary. The purpose is to consolidate your principal points. So readers should be able to understand your main points and evidence without reading the whole report. So by the time somebody reads the first executive summary page or the second, depending on how many you've done or how many pages you've used, they should be able to understand the whole body without even reading the body of the report. And that's what the executive summary is all about. So in practice, for internal auditors, we normally have an executive summary. For external auditors also, they provide executive summary in their report. So in practice, this is practical. It's applicable, and it's what it's in vogue. And that's why you are trained to be able to understand what executive summary is about. So you don't board busy executives with a lot of detail. So where they are not interested in the detail, they just go to the executive summary and they understand your report from those 2 pages. And that's what the executive summary is all about. So it's not a background or an introduction, but then the essence of the report is for those that are interested in reading summaries. It explains why the report was written, emphasizes key findings, short and concise conclusions and recommendations. Very simple. That's what the executive summary is all about. So it answers the reader's question briefly. So most of the time, when we read reports, financial reports from websites of companies, most of the time we may not want to go to the detail. We just want to understand the summary of the matter. And the executive summary is written last after you have analyzed your report content. So you must provide detail.
I answered my question there.
You said?
So you've answered my question there. But let me speak for myself. What I do mostly is that I write executive summary first while I'm doing the introduction, or the body of my report is always scattered, but my executive summary, it's always intact. And I guess that's why I keep having referrals on case study. Yeah.
I'm glad you understand where your mistakes are now. So what you do is you plan your pages. Immediately you get to the hall. Page 1 is cover page. You leave that blank. Page 2 and 3, executive summary, you leave it blank. Page 4, introduction and report outline. Page 5, background and scope and limitations. Page 6 to 13, you can say requirement 1. Page 14 to 20 or 21, requirement 2. Then page 23, appendix, you can now start your calculation. So you're actually starting from the end and coming down. So after you've done your appendices, you now come to requirement 1 or 2, depending on which one you want to discuss or detail your findings. And when you discuss your requirement 1 and 2, you can now come to executive summary and carve it out. So generally, it's a page planning thing. And that is why they said the executive summary is written last, after finalizing the detailed report content, so that you can pick the essential points and summarize in the executive summary. So I'm glad you're understanding the pitfalls now, and please display it in the mock exam 3 and 4. Let's see how you've understood what the concept is all about. I'm glad that resonates with you. Okay, so let's look at the structure of the executive summary. Number 1 is introduction. In 2 lines, speak to the report's purpose. What's the aim? What's the action required? 1 or 2 sentences. Your introduction should not be more than too much lines. And that is why you see people write 3-4 pages. If you write 3-4 pages in the executive summary, it's no longer executive summary. If you look at my internal audit report, it's 1-page executive summary practically. So don't go beyond 2 pages. So if you have lengthy introduction, yes, please go ahead.
And I think it's because I start mostly with executive summary. My executive summary is always bulky. Like I say too much in the executive summary.
Exactly. So don't start with it. Make sure you've already done your discussion. Yeah.
Introduction now. If I'm starting with introduction, I don't think I can write less than 2 lines. Always having like 5 to 6 lines.
That's much. The introduction will not any more than half mark, because that's not the main purpose of the executive summary. That's just providing context. So 1 or 2 lines, sentences is fine. Then the main body, 2 lines or 1 line, provide 2 key findings. Then your conclusion should be 4, recommendation 4. You see, with that, you have 10 marks, requirement 1. And stratify your requirements. Make sure requirement 1 is different from requirement 2. Don't match them together. Some students do that and they are marked down. Requirement 1 and 2 shouldn't be together. So you have separate requirements. Requirement 1 should be summarized separately. Then requirement 2 should be summarized separately with their headers. And the headers should not be written as requirement 1 or requirement 2. Don't do that. State it in summary. So if you look at my report formats, the mock exams we've done, you see a replica of what you're supposed to do. So generally, from the introduction, you speak to the main body, which is the method you use in 1 or 2 lines. Which ratios did you perform? Which financial data tools did you use or models? Speak to them in 1 or 2 lines. Then in 1 or 2 findings, in 1 or 2 lines, speak to key findings. Is revenue growing up? Is cost going up to 2 lines? Then your conclusions, 4 of them, as it is in the body of the report. Then your recommendations, also 4 of them. And you pick 10 marks seamlessly. Make them stand alone. Different lines, one line, maximum 2 lines, so that your requirement 1 should not be more than the first page, then your requirement 2, second page. So your conclusion are action points needed for the reader. They should be bullet points, 1 line. Your discussion, you've discussed 3-4 lines for each point. So make them 1 line in the executive summary. They should be very useful and commercially viable. So key questions before writing. Who is the audience? And that should be in the cover page. The audience could be the board of directors of a company or your boss in your own company. What do they really need to know? And that's what should be captured in the executive summary. The key pressing material significant issues. The ones that are not significant or important for decision making, leave them in the body of the content. Don't bring them to the summary. So the summary should capture captivating issues. So like we said, in the body of the work, you have 4 times 6. You've discussed under 6 headers. You have 24 points. So pick 4 important ones and conclude. Pick 4 important recommendations for those 4 conclusions, and that's what they need to know. Very important. So the intended audience may differ from the full report's audience. Those needing to know if they need to read further should now go to the body of report. But there are many executives or people that read the executive summaries and they are okay. They just feel, from the executive summary, we are clear what has happened. So they don't need to go to the content, except for maybe researchers, analysts, and curious readers like us that want to understand how financial statements are prepared or reports are made will now go to the detail of the report. So those seeking special angles, key decision makers like the board, may go to the detail, but the executive summary is very important for the board, and that audience should have content, quality, from what you've provided. Also, what the audience needs to know. What actions should they take after your recommendation? Convey this without them reading the whole report. And that's what the executive summary is all about. So convey that recommendation from the conclusions of requirement 1 and 2, and they should be able to make action. So you should instruct them to make decisions based on your summary. And that's the essence of the report. So the executive summary should be a standalone document, 1 to 2 pages. So when I read even some tutors, they write reports and they make their executive summary even 3-4 pages. I'm wondering, this is the I can study text. This slide you are reading on the screen is from the I can study text. The examiner said 1 or 2 report. And I wonder why very good tutors will do 3 to 4 pages executive summary. You're flaunting this instruction. So depending on the report length, 1 page minimum, 2 pages maximum. Please don't exceed this so that you don't piss the person writing the exams up. And that is why when I'm marking your script, for those that have engaged in my mocks, if you go beyond 2 pages, I used to take note, I'll flag it. 2 pages maximum. And maintain a formal tone. Avoid first person's pronoun, especially when you are talking to the board. Even if you are talking to your boss, don't say you should. Try to say I recommend you. So avoid first person pronoun and try to maintain a formal tone and not a commanding tone. Advise them, recommend, don't command. Very important in your executive summary. Also, the guidelines. State the purpose immediately and organize points in the same order as the report. Avoid new information. Make sure you summarize results, recommendations, and your conclusions clearly. Summarize them. Use different headers. Format similarly. Reread for clarity. So as you're writing, reread it. So use the headers of the requirement. Don't say requirement 1, requirement 2. Or you say financial statement analysis, financial data analysis. Don't do that. Make sure you put the headers based on what the requirements are. In summary, reread what you wrote for clarity and key points of interest. Also proofread for mistakes and spelling errors, because the executive summary should be a snapshot and should be very clear of what you've discussed. So final questions to answer in your executive summary. What is the report about? Why is it important? And what are the major findings and results? Very important. What, why, and who? What, why, and who are very important questions you need to answer. What is the report about? Why is it important? And who is to act on the findings or the results? What are your conclusions? What are your recommendations? Very important, please. You take note of it. And that will be the end of executive summary unit 4. So any question on executive summary, the best way to be able to analyze this is to practice and apply these nuggets in mock exam 3 and 4. And on Sunday is your deadline. Sunday 12 p.m. is your deadline to submit. So please take note of them. Sorry, Sunday 12 a.m. I mean, it's your deadline. So please replicate and apply this in your practice, and let's see how you pass your exam seamlessly. Okay, so let's look at Unit 5 if there's no question. What are the common mistakes to avoid in executive summaries? Because it carries 20 marks in the case study exams. So you need to avoid some things. There are some pitfalls you need to avoid, because the examiner sees after your cover page, the next thing he sees is the executive summary. So you need to paint it, make it look good, and avoid some mistakes. Number 1, repetition of executive summary content at the start of the main report. So avoid in the key findings reporting the same thing in the conclusion. So the key findings, maybe you are saying revenue is going up, and the second finding is cost of sales is also going up. Avoid those same 2 in the conclusion and the recommendation. So if you've said in key findings, the first 2, revenue went up, cost of sales went up, look for other things to conclude on. So those are 2 points. Then for your conclusions that are supposed to be 4, bring other issues. You could speak to operational expenses going up, admin and selling going up. So there are a plethora of things to talk, a deluge of a lot. So you've discussed about 24 things in the body of the work, following the headers and subheaders. If you talk about 24 lines, pick 6 important ones and bring to your executive summary. So avoid too much detailed background. You see, from that introduction, you see some people write introduction 5 lines. It's not necessary. 2 lines. The report is aimed to speak to the financial performance of Josiah Gabriel Limited. Full stop. You have said the introduction. The method used, ratio analysis, contribution approach, MPV. That's 2 lines. So avoid too much detail in okay, from introduction, you start telling one story, you have taken half of the page. Is not necessary. I read some executive summaries and I'm wondering, you are boring the reader. So avoid too much background detail. So too much is too much. Make it brief. So too much detail in general. Detail belongs to the body where you have discussed in the main pages. You have discussed detail. So make everything in the executive summary summarize. So repetition, too much detail are common mistakes. Please avoid it in the executive summary. Introduction, 2 lines. Method of analysis, 2 lines. Findings, 2 lines. So marks, minimum 1 line. Conclusion, number 1, Roman numeral or A or whatever number you use, 1 line or 2 lines. So if you look at my executive summary, you see a replica. I followed this examiner's pattern, and it will be hard not to pass if you follow this pattern. Also use different terms than in the report. Findings by observations, results versus outcomes. So use different terms that resonates with you. So you could say findings, observations, but you see that place of result, conclusion and recommendation, don't change those terms. Leave them as they are. Conclusion 4, recommendation 4, both for requirement 1 and 2. So 4, you have 8. 8, 16 for executive summary. Include new information not in the main report. Of course, you can include them to capture the attention of your audience. So what is not in your main report that is material that you need to bring to the fore, you can include them in the executive summary. So too much or too little detail. Aim for 1 to 2 pages. You see, these slides are from the case study text directly. My input is not there. I didn't input anything in the case study. My teachings are based on the case study and I don't have any input. You can see the examiners reiterating it, 1 to 2 pages. 1 to 2 pages. If you go beyond that, you get the examiner pissed off. One of the reasons people fail case study is because of flaunting of instruction. Just stay to his instruction, do whatever it is, and get your 50 and go. Why will you write a 4-page executive summary, for crying out loud? No matter how big or legible your handwriting is. Practice 2 pages and stop there. So it's very important to stick to the instruction.
Very brief.
Very importantly. Exactly, Aisha. Thank you for that affirmation. So provide essential findings. What are your results? Provide 4 conclusions, recommendations. Too much is too much. And if you are supposed to provide 4 conclusions, that is superior achievement. If you provide 2, it's too little. Or 2 recommendations, those are too small. You have below competent achievement. So 4 conclusions, 4 recommendations, that is superior achievement. If you cannot provide 3, that is competent achievement.
What if
yes.
I cannot provide 4 conclusions, 4 recommendations, but I now change my English and decide to duplicate those recommendations and conclusions again in different words?
Yeah, under exam condition is permissible. So as long as you number them 1, 2, 3, 4. But any examiner that will read between the lines will know that she's saying the same thing in another way here. But then if you've discussed about 24 things in your main report, I mean, I don't think there should be any issue with you bringing 4 conclusions. So you've discussed about 24 with recommendation and the conclusion and recommendation in the main report, 32. Haba. You should be able to have good 4. So what I advise is in your conclusion and recommendation in the body of the report, just reduce the content and replicate it in the executive summary. That's all. So you have the normal number so that you can have superior achievement 4. So if you go below that 3, that's competent achievement. So with 3, you can score 60 marks, but please have 4. That's the advice. I hope that answers that.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Julie is back. Julie, hope all is well. What happened?
It was a short one. It was just to revise one of the questions. We just revised 2 questions, and also.
Fantastic. Nice to have
Yeah.
you back. We didn't even go for break, or they
Are
urged
you
us to just
serious?
continue. I'm telling you, I begged them.
These
They were
serious
so
students,
obstinate. I'm
hey,
serious. I was surprised.
they're
They
on
said they needed,
fire.
yeah, real on fire. I liked that. They were like, no, that please let's continue so that we can finish. I said, this is good. This is good. And you know what? They shocked me, Julie. Let me report them. Did you know they got 100? Two of them, they were out for me that I will pay back for what I did for audit. The last 20 and the 40 they got. So I'm waiting for them for executive summary. I must take my giveaway. They must do me giveaway for this executive summary. I say executive summary.
Spoil it and have 80 or set up.
No, you
go for the 100.
You know you're my personal person. You must do giveaway for me. You know you are always nice, so don't be like them.
Meaning what? I will fail. Meaning what?
You always be nice. Do giveaway for me. Do giveaway. Don't mind Aisha and the Rufia.
I thought it should be the other way around. That you enjoy your students getting 100.
No. I don't like it.
It's something to enjoy.
No, I shouldn't enjoy it because you can't score 100 in ICANN. Why will me now give you 100? No, that's not nice. Score 80.
That's
80
nice,
okay.
though. 100. Congratulations. People not come and spoil show for them.
No, you are not spoiling show. You are just doing giveaway for me. You are compensating the lecturer, you know.
Don't come and spoil show. I'll try my best. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
That was on the lighter mood anyway. All right. So let's continue.
That's a nice one.
Yeah. Okay. So another common mistake to make, including executive summary content in the conclusion of the main report. So conclusion is a wrap-up of the main points, not a summary. Exactly. So you cannot include the full content. So summarize the conclusion. So in your main body, you have conclusion and recommendation. So maybe for each point, you did 4 points and there are about three lines. Shorten them to 1 line. So don't include the full content in your executive summary. That's what he's saying. Wrap up the main points and summarize in your executive summary. Very, very important. Okay, so that's the end of the common mistakes to avoid in executive summaries, which is 20 marks of your exam. So any question? Let's run. Any question? Okay. We have a few minutes to go. And I think we have 2 more units. What is the language and style to use in preparing or writing your report? You must ensure that subject-verb agreement, correct capitalization, correct pronoun, correct use of abbreviations, define first before you go into detail, be brief, eliminate superfluous content. What does this mean? You need to ensure subject-verb. What are verbs? They are action words. So whatever you are saying should lead to agreement with whatever is in the exhibit. Then if you have a header, make it capitalized. If I'm saying general overview or analysis of financial statement, make it capital header. I even encourage numbering in my header, but if you don't want to number your headers and subheaders, you can make it capitalized. Then start each pronoun or noun or discussion in the next paragraph. So every paragraph stays to the fact that if I didn't number my points, I'm speaking that I finished 1 point. This is the next point. So use of abbreviations, make sure you define that abbreviation first. I'm abbreviating ICANN. So the first time I'll talk about ICANN, I should state it as Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. Then next, I can now say ICANN. So you've defined the abbreviation first. But abbreviations are formal abbreviations, not informal. Don't go and abbreviate and say AND. Then you continue the rest. You say because of time, you now start using D, letter D. You're going to be marked down. That's informal. So your language and style be very formal. Or you're writing at AT. You now use the normal at that we used to use when you're writing text messages that has at logo. Don't do that under exam condition. Whatever abbreviations, make it formal. If you're saying ICANN or CITN, define that term first. Then if you're continuing because of time, it's allowed to abbreviate. Be brief. Briefing in your discussion of findings means don't speak more than maybe 4 to 5 lines. Though in my report, you see I discussed so much so that you can have what to write. Too much is too much and too little is too little, depending on the point. So write as much as you can. But 3 lines minimum, especially in the main body of report. Don't write 1 line as if you are summarizing in the discursive aspect, except if it's executive summary. 1 line will not earn you 1 mark under the main discussion or finding. At least 3 lines discuss. So be brief, eliminate superfluous content. What does superfluous content mean? What is not in the exhibit? You just bring fiction and start writing, and they cannot link your answers to what is in the exhibit. So avoid any content that is not in the case. Very important. So another approach. Okay, yes, Julie, please go ahead.
Yeah. We're still discussing executive summary, right? I just want to clarify.
No, we are done with executive summary. So now we are talking about language or style of the general report, but you can still draw us back to executive summary.
I want to find out something. Do we have to write findings for executive summary or just conclusion and recommendation?
Fantastic question. So let me go back to that. I like that question. So which slide did he speak to? Because the examiner is keen on that and he answers it. Okay, so it's this slide 37. Take note of what he said. He said the structure should be introduction, 1 or 2 sentences. This report is aimed at analyzing the financial performance and the projects of the company, so in 1 or 2 lines. Then the main body, you should talk about methods of analysis used. What are the methods? You use ratios, you use performance management tools or strategic management tools or NPV, any method you use, state it in 1 or 2 lines. Then the next one is key findings. You can see he wants 2 at least key findings. And that's why I said provide 2 key findings, 4 conclusions, 4 recommendations for requirement 1. Do the same for requirement 2. 2 key findings, 4 conclusions, 4 recommendations. And that's 10 points in 1 bullet, in each bullet point, and you have 20 marks. So in answering your question, yes, key findings are a must, not just conclusion and recommendation. Yeah.
Sorry, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Thanks for that question. So this is the study text, and I like to follow it very hook, line, and sinker. Okay. So let's go back to the language and style. So I was saying that the appropriate approach is to engage the reader. Whoever you are speaking to, whether it's the board or the or your boss, whether internal or external, the recipient should understand your language in the subject matter field. Subject matter field is you are sending it to either the board of directors, and mostly that's where the examiner asks you to write to the board of directors on the. So the appropriate language should engage the board. Things to avoid in writing your report: spelling mistakes. Since it's a writing exam, it's not like you are giving Microsoft Word where spelling errors are checked. Please avoid spelling mistakes. Read what you write, and you can practice that under mock exam condition. Overcapitalization. Make the main headers capital letter, then the subheaders small letter. The main headers, the 6 of them, conclusion and recommendation, should be capital headers. Not every other small thing you write or move to, you capitalize. Avoid overcapitalization. Then 2 basic musts: accuracy. You must be accurate to some extent, not 100%. And your accuracy should be able to be provided in your analysis. Your financial and your data analysis should be accurate. Generally, where a report is saying NPV is positive and only you have negative, then you have a problem. Even though you may pass under certain conditions, but then make sure there are some integrate components to be incorporated in your report. So take note of accuracy, and the information provided to you should be adequately captured in your calculation so that it won't floor your judgment and your discursive aspect. So accuracy and objectivity are key. Is a must. Your report should be devoid of emotions, sentiments, prejudice, and it will floor your recommendation and conclusion. So read the case. Avoid personal emotions. Maybe the case spoke to something you remember and you are angry about it and decided to bring in emotions in the exam. Avoid that. Just write the exam, ignore whatever you have gone through. Maybe the case speaks to an experience you didn't like that was not palatable. Ignore that and don't bring sentiments in your judgment. And please avoid being personal. Be professional in your facts, in your conclusions and recommendations. It's just an exam, so pass it and move on. And that's it. So that's all for language and style. It's already 10 o'clock. I'm trying to run. So this will be the last unit before we write our short test. Okay, please go ahead, Julie.
Again, sorry, I'm going back to executive section because it's very important to me.
Yes.
Do you write the heading findings? When
Yes,
we are
yes.
when
That
the
makes
heading
sense.
is findings.
Yes,
Conclusion.
you can write it. Yes,
Recommendation.
you can write it. Yes, key findings, conclusions, recommendations. Very important, please. In the executive
And the
summary,
points would be in numerals. The points
yes,
would be in numerals.
Is it numerals or you want to use alphabets, anyone, or bullet points? Whatever you use is fine. Yes, please.
It's okay.
It's fine. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for
But
that.
honestly, the problem I have there is writing those requirements. When you look at what the examiner has written, he writes a lot. So many, even the one you did, plenty things. I said, how can somebody write all those things?
Yes, under exam condition is not possible. Under exam condition is not possible. So that is why is a report provided for you to read. So as you are reading, under exam condition, you broaden your horizon. So why did you write those plenty things? So that you can know that in that case study context, there's many things to write about. So what you write is different from what Aisha may write. What Aisha may write is different from what Rufia to write. And what Rufia to write, if I'm in the exam, is different from what Josiah will write. So you have a plethora of things to write. So don't
So the exam is just capturing
pattern.
everything that people might likely write.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So pick the ones relevant to you. And you see sometimes I even go beyond 5 points, 6 points. That's because under that header, there are many things to talk about. So pick 4 that resonate with you, that you understand, and don't write more than 4. You don't have time for that. And that's what the solution, the specimen suggested report provides. It's just a specimen of what you can write in the exam and is a guide. Yeah.
Okay, and also you also stated there's so many headings you put in your own requirements. When you're writing your requirements, you put so many headings there.
Yeah, so there are 6 headers. It's 6. Apart from your conclusion and recommendation, there are 6. So you have number 1, you are analyzing the financial statement, and that speaks to use of data and information based on the examiner's format. Number 2, professional tools. You are discussing the ratios, the models, the methods, or the performance management tools you use. That's number 2. Then number 3 is you are displaying analytical skills. You could speak to the trend, the model as integrated with the case. So that's number 3. Then number 4, issues and options, challenges and consideration. You are speaking to whatever it is negatively and positively impacting the case. So whatever it is you are looking at as a challenge or as a consideration could be enhanced. And some of these headers could be repetitive. Under these headers, you could repeat points, but depending on the name of the heading. Yes, and that doesn't matter. Pick your marks. Then number 5, very importantly, ethical issues. So you see the ethical issue is number 5. Then number 6, evaluative skills and judgment is what you are providing to looking at risk assessment, evaluation of your findings, generally speaking to risks, bedeviling the case. So you see those 6 times 4 is 24. So you have 24 areas you've discussed before you now come to conclusion and recommendation. So those 8 headers are like a guide. But some people may decide not to use the first 4 from analysis of the information to challenges and consideration. But you must do the 5th one. Ethical issues must be discussed. Don't forget that. If you decide not to use my method, fine. You want to talk broadly, it's okay. But ethical issues, make it separately. Conclusion and recommendation is a must on separate headers. Those 3 are, how will I put it, mandatory. Then the other 5 I provided are voluntary. Let me use that word. So make your choice.
Then the ethical consideration, does it come before the findings? Does it come before the findings?
No. The ethical consideration should come after your findings. So after you've discussed, ethical issues should come before your after your findings. before your conclusion and recommendation. So
okay.
Yes, it should precede your conclusion, and recommendation. Exactly. Yes. So thank you for that question. It's a good and value-adding one. Okay, so let's look at the candidate's report format. So number one, the first page is your cover page. Who is he addressed to? So your cover page, depending on the internal or external report, you need to write the letter-headed or the memo format. So if it's a letter-headed, which is an external report, you put the letter-headed of the audit firm or the company, the consultants, whichever way it comes, put it there. Then the next thing is you write board of directors. Don't write cover page. No need for that. Just put the header, write the addressee, then the addresser. Report on.
And if it's internal.
Yeah?
And if it's internal.
Okay, so if it's internal, you don't need the letter-headed format. You don't need the company letter-headed. You just write to and from. So to your boss, the name of the company, from a person here. So the internal report does not need a letter-headed because it's not going out. So it's prepared by, so it's prepared by your boss. Sorry, it's prepared by your firm or your boss or the department's name. So generally prepared by, I use the person in the case. Some people use the name of the firm or the name of the department. Those are fine. You can use the name of the firm, the name of the boss, or the name of the department. Whatever it is, do what resonates with you. But if you look at my report, I use the person I am in the case. But if you use any other name, it's fine. You'll be marked okay. Then the next thing is date. You must write the date, whether the day you are writing the exam, put a date there. Then the disclaimer for external reports, very important. It's prepared by Josiah Gabriel & Co., Julia & Co., for the board of this particular company we're working on. Whoever uses it is on his own. That's what your disclaimer is speaking to. An external report is very important. It's 2 marks, of which if you don't write, you're going to be marked down by 4 marks. Don't forget, for external reports is very important. Okay, so we will accept no liabilities from third parties who may rely on the content without due authorization. This is replicated and how we put a disclaimer. Okay, so page 2 and 3 is your executive summary. So that's the next point. The section 1 is your introduction, 2 lines. The purpose in that same 2 lines. Summarize the requirements in the next line, talking about the methods you use. In 1 or 2 lines, talk about assumptions, reservations, what you are skeptical about. Don't go too much stories. 1 or 2 lines, we address reservations, assumptions, and your skepticism. And the next section 2 is your findings. Your findings, 2 lines, then your requirement 1, conclusion and recommendation. Requirement 1, conclusion. Requirement 2, recommendation. Then this next section is requirement 2, your key findings for requirement 2. 2 of them, majorly. Then your conclusions 4, and your requirement 2 recommendations 4. So please don't match requirement 1 and 2 together in your executive summary. Some people do that. I've marked marks and I had to address that. Don't match it. Requirement 1 and 2 are not the same. They should be treated separately. Pages 3 is your report on requirement. Your introduction page and your report outline. Pages 3, then pages 4. Pages 2 and 3, executive summary, depending on whether you use 1 page or 2 pages. Then pages 4 and 5. Page 4 is your introduction and your report outline. Then page 6 is your background. And page 4 is your introduction and report outline. Then page 5 is your background, which is in the exhibits and the limitation and scope of your study. You'll see that in the report finding. Then from maybe page 6 down to 12, you can now report on your requirements, your headers and subheadings, which is the ones I stated, 1 to 6, including your ethical issues. Speak to them with other subheaders, discuss extensively. And I state, please write. In this area of discussing, please write more. I saw somebody's script and I told Julie that she did 38 pages. I was like, wow. Though she scored about 55 or 53. Yes, 38 pages. And I was marking
pages 55.
Yes, she scored about 53 or 55 because she mingled and her appendices were not too rich. So she didn't she didn't calculate most of the requirements very well. She just discussed broadly. Though she had appendix. So I told her, you narrowly or marginally passed because you discussed extensively, but it's risky. So please address your appendices. Make sure it's the same mock exam too you wrote, but you scored better than her. I think she scored 53 because you did more of your appendix and you got your marks. So where your appendix don't speak to your body of write-up, we'll be wondering where you got the information from. So please write very well, but make sure your appendix is appropriately addressed and you speak. Also, so the more you write, the better and more chance you have to pass. If you scantily write the area of the body of the message, you may not get the required 32 marks you need. So please write.
I have to study the requirements properly because my scores there were not very encouraging. You know,
yes,
that plenty discussion, plenty talk. I don't know.
Oh, they just go through the format of
There's so many things to talk about that. Maybe I was expecting of me.
Exactly. Like thank God you have mock exam 3 and 4. So
pick. Said there are 6 and 8 headings.
8 headers. Yes, 8 headers, including your conclusion and recommendation. So look at the last report, look at the last format, and use it as a guide. I believe it will help you. I believe it will help you. Yeah. So please replicate it in mock exam 3 and 4. And I want to see 60. If I see 60, 70, I'll have that level of comfort that no, at the exams you will do better. So that's what I'm expecting.
But all this format, is it here? Where did you write it? Is it here? Or
no, the format is not in this slide. The format is in that what do they call it? Is in that PowerPoint. So I will share it after this class. I will share that PowerPoint again.
Please.
Maybe you I'll share the PowerPoint again. I'll share the PowerPoint again after this class so that you can have that standard report format. I'll send
it. Sir. That'll be great.
All right. So in discussing the headers and subheaders, the conclusion and the recommendation, please go ahead and discuss generally. So depending on the page, you need to report on requirement 2. So make it separate. So requirement 1 is separate, requirement 2 is separate. Don't bundle them together. Requirement 2 is the same format with requirement 1. Your headers and subheaders from 1 to 6, conclusion and recommendation also. Then the next page is your appendices. And that's where you start. So when you enter the hall, like I said, you leave page 1, cover page, leave it. Page 2 and 3, leave it as executive summary. Page 4 and 5, leave it as introduction and background. Then you start from page 6. Okay, leave page 6 or maybe you say 6 to 15, requirement 1 discussion. 16 to 25, requirement 2 discussion. Then 26 down, you can now start your appendices calculation. That's how you plan. And you provide it.
What if we don't fill up all those pages when we are writing?
What's going to happen? That's fine now. Good question. So when you don't fill those pages, your report outline, where you are putting the number of page, that's the reason for report outline. So in the report outline, you now say requirement 1, page 6 to 7. Okay. Requirement 2, page 7. You see why the requirement is, and that report outline is necessary because it will tell the examiner where you actually utilized. Yeah. Exactly. So that's the essence. And that report outline is, I think, 2 marks. It's not too small, but it's something that could add value for
it's not, 49 plus 2 is 51.
You can see. So some people say it's necessary, it's important. Yes. Some people say that report outline, background, I don't need them, they are too small. You won't know when you need it. Please do it. Please do it. It's very important. Okay, so that's a good question.
Background is almost like a summary of the introduction of the whole thing, yeah?
No. Background is the history of the company. Don't forget, the history of the company is in the exhibit. In 5 lines. Just
a summary.
Yes, like a summary. The history of the company, where it started, its origin, and that is provided in the exhibit. So just go and copy and paste it. It's 2 marks. And you can don't write everything. Just write 4 or 5 lines and you are there. Exactly. Okay.
Yeah,
so for appendices, Yes. Yes. So after the background, the scope and limitations is the next 2 marks you should get. So state the scope, how many years we are looking at, then the limitations. What are those issues you found bedeviling you? Lack of cash flow statement, lack of budget, all those things. You can state them as limitations. So that one is 2 marks too in the background and the scope and limitation page. So that one is 1 page, 4 marks. So you can do that too. So for the appendices and detailed information calculations, provide tables where you have to do trend analysis to check the changes between both years. So the appendices should capture all that. So depending on the requirement, if you have appendix 1, appendix 2, appendix 3, then I think somebody asked the question on if you are asked on models, should you post the model in the appendices? Yes. So if you are asked of SWOT, just do a general meaning of strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat in the appendices. State the model so that when you are speaking to your discursive aspect, you just say see appendix. So you're trying to reference the appendix. So yes, whatever model, know the components and post them in the appendix. It's just the component headers that is needed in the appendix. Then for calculations, appendix 1, if it's financial statement analysis, do your ratios, do your table, check the changes, whatever it is, the common size analysis, horizontal or vertical, whatever it is they asked you to do that in the appendices. Then for appendix 2 or 3, depending on the data analysis or whatever calculations you are providing there, make sure your tables are different. For NPV, whichever stage, from which stage you are completing your calculations, please do them neatly. Do it neatly or be organized. And when you provide that, you get your marks very seamlessly. Okay, so that will be the end of the candidates report format. I'll share the PowerPoint again, like Julie asked for, so that you can print it and have that as a guide as you continue your practice. Okay, so can we go to our quiz questions? Let me see who is on the call. I hope. Oh, okay, Aisha, network has refused to allow Aisha today. She's been struggling with network. But then I believe I have Jay. I know if you are in that last ethics class, I know you still score 100 because the questions, both of them were having the same mouth. They had the same options, R and 8, and they were having the same answers, and they got 100. So please, Julie, don't forget to, you are my person, so you always do give away for me. So that
hey,
I didn't say you should feel. I didn't say you should feel. At least
to say, oh, make sure you get 100, though. Hey.
No, don't do that. You break my heart now. How can you do that? Hey. You give me like 1 or 2. Go with 60, no problem. Let me go with 40. At least you are being fair, or 50-50, anyone, Rufiat is out for me. Rufiat, me and you will fight too. Don't worry. Rufiat she's aiming for 100. Don't worry. Okay.
That's all I hear.
Okay, there is God. Don't worry. According to our past president.
Sir, that slang, no good for anybody. No good for anybody.
No good for anybody.
Okay, there is God, though. But don't worry, this time around, the questions will be tough. You must do giveaway. Don't worry. Okay, so let's go. Judgment day number 1. What is the first step in writing a professional report in the ICANN case study exams? Number 1, identify key ratios.
I'm not seeing my screen. I'm not seeing my screen. Let me go out and come back. I'm not seeing my screen.
Yeah, go out and come back. I know you are out for me. Julia has not even waited for the options. She's already picking. Okay.
I'll give you the answer already.
Julie says C. Okay. Decide if the report is internal or external. Oh, so fast. Number 1 is C.
That's the main thing. If you get it wrong initially, you don't enter Wahala with that.
Okay, we'll see on Judgment Day. Let me go to number 2 quickly because of time. When Rufiat comes back, we'll go to number 1. Which of the following best describes the purpose of an executive summary? A, provide all detailed calculations and tables. B, outline the report's purpose, findings, conclusions, and recommendations. C, include only background and assumptions. D, repeat all the content of the report, word for word. Which of the following best describes the purpose of an executive summary?
E.
Okay. J is picking B. All right. Rofia to soon come back. So let's continue until she come back. Number 3. Which of the following is not a type of analysis required in the ICANN case study exams? A. Financial statement analysis. B. Tax compliance analysis. C. Financial data analysis. D. Business analysis. Okay, so what's your pick?
Tax compliance analysis.
Okay, B. Final answer.
Of course.
Are you sure it's not D? So that you not say I'm not nice. I'm giving you expo now. All right. Okay. Number 4. Which of the following is a common mistake in writing executive summaries? A. Summarizing recommendation and conclusion. B. Providing purpose and required actions. C. Using bullet points for clarity. D. Introducing new information not in the main report. Which of the following is a common mistake in writing executive summary? Like this one. I think this one is tricky. Usually we do give away this one.
You really think I'm a Dundee United.
Don't give away today whether you like it or not.
It's D now. It's D.
Final answer.
It's D. How is it now? It's D.
We'll see. Rufiat is not back. Rufiat is hard for me today. What are the 2 basic musts in professional report writing according to the ICANN pocket notes? 2. A. Accuracy and brevity. B. Clarity and detail. C. Accuracy and objectivity. D. Conciseness and persuasiveness. What are the 2 basic musts in professional report writing according to the ICANN pocket notes? I like this one. Maybe I'll get my giveaway here. Accuracy and brevity.
What brevity means?
Brevity means to be short, concise. Yes. Short, brief.
Wow.
Clarity and detail. C. Accuracy and objectivity.
This one is cheating. This is cheating.
Conciseness and persuasive.
This one is cheating. So they all mean the same thing.
I'm about to get my giveaway. Yeah, no, you always get the same thing. You always be benevolent. Thank you, Jerry. Yeah, pick your option.
Yeah.
If you score 80 or 60, it's okay. Can you score 100? For what? Yeah. Give me your giveaway.
Right.
Do me giveaway. Do me giveaway.
It's D.
Final answer. Are you sure?
Positive.
What are the 2 basic musts in report writing according to the ICANN pocket notes?
D.
Final answer.
Yes.
Okay, we'll see your judgment then. Yeah, I know I was getting giveaway.
Wait. This is objectivity. This objectivity.
Yes, change your mind. Are you changing your mind? Rufia has not come back.
D is okay. D is okay.
Sure?
D is fine. D, yeah.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Okay. Okay. Since Rufiat is not back, we may have to go to Judgment Day and see our answers. Number 1.
Okay.
What is the first step? I know, she got it. In writing a professional report in the ICANN case study exam, decide if the report is internal or external. Exactly. So explanation, the format of the report depends on whether it's internal memo to boss or board or external letter to client, MD, CFO. This influences the tone and structure. That's true. Okay, good one. Number 2, which of the following best describes the purpose of an executive summary? B, she got it. It outlines the report's purpose, findings, conclusions, and recommendations. Explanation, the executive summary gives a concise and self-contained summary that lets readers understand the full report without reading every detail. Exactly. Okay. Number 3, which of the following is not a type of analysis required in the ICANN case study? She still got it. Tax compliance analysis. Okay. The ICANN case study focuses on financial statement, financial data, and business analysis, not taxation matters. She has gotten 60%. Number 4, D. Now, wow. She still got it. Which of the following is a common mistake in
Number
writing
4.
executive summary? Introducing new information not in the main content. Now, wow, she got it again. The executive summary must reflect only what is already in the main point.
But you know, I can't see the. Okay, it just moved now.
Okay.
I'm now seeing
Number 4. Which one?
It just moved.
Okay. Okay, it's network.
Yes.
I said number 4, you got it.
Yeah.
Which
Okay,
of the
number
following
5
is a common mistake?
Yes.
And let me read it now. Let me read it and keep mourning
Okay.
how you are scoring it. You are just going. No problem. Which of the following is a common mistake in writing
I can't see. Have you read number 5?
No, this is number 4. I'm still reading. I want to see how you are getting the answer. D. Introducing new information not in the main report. Explanation. The executive summary must reflect only what is already in the main
Network
report.
is bad.
No
Right.
new findings or ideas should appear here. Okay, can you hear me? Hi, Julie, can you hear me?
Bad. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
All right, so we are going to number 5. Good. I've gotten giveaway. I've gotten giveaway here. Yeah, I know. Julie, you always do me well. I know that. I trust you.
Accuracy, objectivity. I saw the objectivity.
Everybody can hurt me, but not Julie. I know Julie will not hurt me. She must do giveaway for me.
Hey.
Yes, sir. I can't remember how lies you did 100%.
That objectivity.
You always make me happy. Thank you, Jare. About 80% is okay now. Why will you be Oliver Twist and be scoring 100?
That is not a compliment at all. That is not a compliment.
That those Oliver Twist, Aisha, and Rufiat, when you were not around, they bullied me 100 over 100. But look at you now. You just came and give away for me.
You know, I saw that objectivity.
You know, you are always very objective.